China just turned Lunar New Year into an AI battlefield, and this time it's not about who has the smartest chatbot. It's about who can afford to deploy autonomous digital workers at national scale right now. Three wars are happening at once: user acquisition, agent capability, and compute efficiency. And the scary part? They're all accelerating simultaneously. ByteDance just launched Doubau 2.0 days before the holiday window. Not randomly, not quietly, but deliberately. Last year, DeepSeek hijacked this exact moment with a shockingly cheap, high-performance model that dominated global AI conversation. ByteDance clearly studied that playbook, and they're not letting it happen again. Doubau is already China's most widely used AI app, sitting around 155 million weekly active users by late December 2025. DeepSeek, roughly half that. So this isn't a startup trying to climb. This is the market leader defending its throne. But here's the real hook: Doubau 2.0 isn't being marketed as smarter chat. It's being framed for the agent era. What does that actually mean? It means AI that doesn't just answer questions. It plans, it executes, it checks its own work, it iterates, it keeps going. A closed loop of reasoning and action. ByteDance claims the Pro version delivers reasoning and task execution comparable to OpenAI's GPT-5.2 and Google DeepMind's Gemini 3 Pro, but at roughly 1/10 the usage cost. That cost claim is not marketing fluff. It's strategic warfare, because when AI becomes agentic, token usage explodes. Planning, acting, verifying, revising, every loop burns compute. If your model is expensive, your agent dies at scale. ByteDance is positioning cost efficiency as the deciding variable of the next AI phase, and they didn't stop there. They also dropped Cadence 2.0, a video generation model that immediately went viral across Chinese social platforms and even drew praise from Elon Musk on X. That's attention dominance across both text agents and generative video during the highest engagement window of the year. That's not product launch timing. That's distribution strategy. Goliath ByteDance isn't alone. On February 6th, Alibaba launched a 3 billion yuan coupon campaign, about $400 million, inside its AI app. Users could redeem food and drink vouchers directly through the chatbot. Result? Daily active users jumped from 7 million to 58 million in days. That's not organic growth. That's liquidity injection into attention. It instantly narrowed the gap with Doubau. And it revealed something critical about China's AI market. User loyalty is still fluid. Incentives can shift the leaderboard overnight. Then Alibaba escalated again. They unveiled Quen 3.5 into forms, an open-weight version developers can download and fine-tune, and a hosted API model on Alibaba Cloud. Open weights matter because open ecosystems attract agents, and agents attract developers, and developers build distribution modes. QW and 3.5 pushes multimodality, text, image, video in one system. It leans into coding and agent capabilities, and it's compatible with OpenClaw-style autonomous agents. This is Alibaba saying, we're not just building a chatbot, we're building the infrastructure layer. The open model has 397 billion parameters, smaller than their previous flagship, but they claim better performance across internal benchmarks. More importantly, language support jumped from 82 to 201 languages and dialects. That's not domestic focus. That's global ambition. Now zoom out. Hardware constraints are shaping everything. US export controls have limited Chinese firms' access to top-tier NVIDIA GPUs. That forces brutal efficiency optimization, better inference, lower token waste, smarter compute allocation. ByteDance reportedly plans to spend over 160 billion yuan, roughly $22 billion, on AI-related procurement in 2026 alone. That's not defensive spending. That's frontier competition under constraint. And while this domestic battle explodes, something even more profound just happened in the West. Google DeepMind introduced an agent called Allethia, not for chat, not for consumers, for professional-level mathematical research. This is where the agent narrative becomes real. Allethia separates reasoning into 3 explicit roles. Generator proposes a solution. Verifier hunts for flaws or hallucinations. Reviser fixes weaknesses. That loop repeats until the proof passes internal checks. Why does that matter? Because models frequently fail to detect their own mistakes when generation and verification are blended. Separation increases reliability. The System runs on an advanced Gemini DeepThink architecture that uses inference time. Scaling, essentially letting the model think longer to improve accuracy between 2025 and early 2026. Compute required for Olympiad-level math dropped by 100x. That's not incremental improvement, that's structural efficiency gain on advanced proof benchmarks. Accuracy jumped from 65.7% to 95.1%. But here's where it gets wild. Allethia fully generated a peer-reviewed math paper classified as essentially autonomous and publishable in arithmetic geometry. It also resolved for open mathematical problems from the Erdos conjectures database and found 63 technically correct solutions across 700 open problems. That's not chat. That's domain autonomy. And to avoid hallucinated citations, it actively uses search and web tools to validate claims. Notice the pattern? Agents are no longer closed neural nets. They are reasoning systems connected to tools, memory, and verification loops. China is racing to scale agents across apps. The West is racing to push agents into high-level research. Same paradigm, different deployment vectors. So no connect the dots. ByteDance launches Doubau 2.0 before Lunar New Year to lock down mass distribution. Alibaba injects $400 million to spike daily usage and pushes Quen 3.5 with open weights. DeepSeek is looming after last year's shock entry. Google DeepMind demonstrates agents capable of publishable research. This is synchronized escalation. The battlefield isn't just intelligence anymore. It's cost per reasoning loop, agent durability, ecosystem control, distribution timing, compute efficiency under hardware constraints. When ByteDance claims Doubau 2.0 matches GPT-5.2 and Gemini 3 Pro at a fraction of the cost, that statement lives inside this geopolitical and economic chessboard. If agents truly begin executing real work at scale, coding, research, logistics, automation, cost efficiency will determine who can deploy millions of persistent loops without collapsing margins. And Lunar New Year isn't just a holiday. It's an amplification engine. Idle time, social sharing, family curiosity, mass experimentation. Last year, DeepSeek used it to explode. This year, ByteDance and Alibaba are trying to dominate it. The real question isn't who has the smartest model, it's this: who can run autonomous systems continuously, cheaply, and reliably across hundreds of millions of users without burning through compute. Because whichever company solves that equation first doesn't just win downloads, they define the next operating system layer of the internet. And that race just shifted into a higher gear.